I'm AJ Bianco from Podcast PD, a proud member of the Education Podcast Network, just like this show you're listening to right now. The opinions expressed are those of the individual host. Make sure you check out all the other great podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com. And get ready, because the learning begins in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, Edu-Magicians. Welcome to the Edu-Magic Podcast with your host, Dr. Sam Fessich. Dr. Sam is a professor of education, author of Edu-Magic, and a pumpkin spice latte fan. This podcast is designed for pre-service teachers. Remember, friends, teaching doesn't begin at graduation, but during that first class at 8 a.m. Let's get this party started.
All right, friends, this afternoon I have with us today the amazing Kathleen Trace. Kathleen and I connected last semester. She was a virtual co-op for an amazing student, Mallory, and they worked together creating artifacts with technology with purpose and authenticity. So Kathleen, thank you so much for coming on the show this afternoon. Before we get started into all of the amazing advice that you have for pre-service teachers, can you share with my listeners a little bit about your teaching story?
Well, I was one of those people who said I was never, ever going to be a teacher because both of my parents were educators. My mom taught special education for 30 years, and my dad was a school psychologist. And I fought it for as long as I could. And then I actually started substitute teaching when I was in college, and I interned at all different kinds of places. And I never felt more at home than when I was in a school. And I think if you like substitute teaching, that tells you something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually did not get certified to teach when I was an undergraduate. I went and got my certification and my master's, and I have never regretted it.
That's awesome. And can you tell us a little bit about your college days? What did you study? And then what did you go back to school for?
So I went to William & Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. I double majored in psychology and literature and cultural studies, which basically meant English without the Shakespeare and poetry. I got to focus on what I really loved, which was writing. And I was deciding as I was graduating college if I wanted to pursue the English or if I wanted to pursue the psychology. And I really did not enjoy the research aspect of a graduate degree in psychology or the kind of independent kind of lonely nature of being a psychologist, whereas the thought of being a teacher and having had that substitute teaching experience just made me believe that the schools were a place where I was going to feel energized and excited and like I was really making a difference. So then I went to UVA's Curry School of Education to get my master's in secondary English education.
So thinking back to those college days, whether you want to talk about whenever you were a substitute teacher as an undergrad or as a graduate student, do you remember one of your favorite teaching moments? Maybe it was a moment when you thought, yes, I want to be a teacher and this is why. Or maybe you have a great lesson that you reflect back on your time at college and thinking through becoming an educator. Do you have a favorite moment or a favorite story you'd like to share with my listeners?
Sure. I had an absolutely amazing cooperating instructor when I was in my student teaching at Charlottesville High School in Charlottesville, Michael Irani, and he's now a principal. But he was so interactive with the students, and he actually did this activity he called Agreedisagree that I still do to this day, where he would pose a statement on the board, and then the students would either have to agree or disagree with that statement, and they would move physically to the side of the room, which was either agree or disagree, and then they would have to give specific examples as to why they agreed or disagreed. And they got so in-depth and so eloquent in what they were saying that I felt like these kids were learning about themselves, and they were learning about life, and they were learning about literature, and they were learning about history. And it was just one of those moments where you went home and you felt like this kid changed today, and this is an amazing thing to be able to do.
Absolutely. And as teachers, we get to see that on a daily, weekly basis, whether it's a small change or a large change. I think that's such a beautiful way to say it. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
It's one of the best parts of being a teacher, feeling like you
Absolutely.
really help somebody find something they were passionate about or help them learn something about themselves.
And you are very passionate about raising up that next generation of educators, our future teachers.
Yes.
Can you share some advice related to some of the areas within EduMagic that you feel pre-service teachers need to hear?
I just, honestly, it's only been probably the past year, maybe even less, that I've really tapped into the PL beyond my school and the people that I actually interact with in my division. And I met you through Twitter. I met Mallory through Twitter, through you. And it's just been such an amazing experience seeing this whole community out there that is just as passionate as I am and has all these ideas that they're willing to share. I think one of the most dangerous things in teaching is teachers who hole up in their rooms and don't want to share and don't want to help other teachers engage their students in ways that are new and exciting. And I feel like on that social media PL, that's why people are there. And it's been a really eye-opening experience to me. And I know you teach your students that because Mallory has been absolutely amazing and she's taught me so much. And it's been a really cool experience.
Can you share a little bit about the virtual co-op experience that you did this semester?
Sure. So when Mallory emailed me several months ago, and at first I was like, I'm not even sure how we got connected. and she said, okay, well, this is what we're doing. And I'd never done a virtual co-op before, and it sounded really interesting. And then she started, we did a FaceTime where we just chatted, and she was just darling. And then she, throughout the semester, said, here's what we're learning about. I want to use this tool to make something for you to use in your classroom. And it was so neat because I could give her the content, and then she made like I'm not even sure if I'm going to say it right because I'm not familiar with it. I'm learning from her. The gizmo, is that right?
Ginzy? I don't know. I say it differently depending on the semester.
Which was so cool. And she made a Google form, which we used for the newspaper to collect data. She made a review game for my newspaper kids that we're actually going to use next week. I haven't even used everything that she's created for us, but it's really been neat because I've been able to share with her my classroom experiences, and then she's been able to share with me the technology that she's learning currently in her education program, which didn't exist when I went through my education program 15 years ago.
It's a beautiful collaboration. They're able to bring the tech and what's going on in the tech world, and you guys bring the pedagogy, the experience, the methodology, and blend it together. It's a beautiful virtual learning experience.
It really is. I highly recommend it to people.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Sam. Finding a teaching job can be really tough, and finding the right teaching job for you can be even harder. You know, summer may be hot, but you don't have to sweat. AAEE has you covered. Attend the AAEE Job Fair on Friday, July 26th at the Allegheny Intermediate Unit, just outside of Pittsburgh, to find your perfect match. Districts from around the local area and across the country are ready with jobs to offer. Whether you're looking for your first teaching job or just want to see what options are out there, you'll be sure to make a great connection that you won't regret. You may walk away with a copy of the AAEE Job Search Handbook for Educators. Candidate registration is always free, so go online to aaee.org/summer-job-fair now. And now, back to the interview.
And back to your passion for pre-service teachers and raising up that next generation. What is one piece of advice that you have for those future educators out there listening today?
The biggest piece of advice that I have is that it's worth it. And there's going to be people that tell you constantly, oh, you don't make any money, you don't get respected. I've been at it for, like I said, 14 years, and there's been very few things other than having my own children that has been more rewarding than what I get to do in the classroom. And sure, I'm not buying a yacht off my teacher salary, but I'm getting paid in points of personal happiness and well-being, and knowing that I'm making a difference in the lives of future generations. And when I have students that contact me years after they graduated and say, I remember that project. I'm using that skill now in my job. That's just something you can't get in any other career. And you've really got to push through all that negativity that's in our culture right now about education to get to that point where you can be that teacher that's making that difference. And I know that these pre-service teachers can do it. And if they don't let all that negativity get to them, they're going to be amazing educators, and they're going to change the face of future generations.
I couldn't agree more. Keeping with it, it is so worth it, like you said. Absolutely. So not only are you impacting the lives of the students in your classroom, but you're also impacting the lives of future teachers through your book, Wannabe Teacher. Can you share a little bit about your book, where we can find it, a little elevator pitch about it?
Sure. So I actually wrote a wannabe teacher after only having taught for a couple years. I started on it while I was in maybe my second or third year teaching, because I felt like my teaching program didn't prepare me for the actual experience of teaching. You get the theory and you get the minimal classroom experience, but I wanted a checklist for what to do during pre-service week, and what do I need to get done on the first day of school, and the first week of school, and the first month. And I felt like I had now the experience that I could share in a very kind of quick and easy to read and bullet pointed, because no new teacher has time to read something long. You know that. They want to get the answer and they want to get it fast. And so I felt like I could create that resource, and that's what I tried to do, to kind of take it from, I think I want to be a teacher, to surviving that first year, which is by far the toughest.
But we all get through it. We all survive it, and we're better teachers for it.
We do.
I feel like that
we are, and it gets better and better each year.
Absolutely. And it can only get better from there. Everyone has to go through their first year. There might be scars, there might be tears, there might be tons of laughs, and there's going to be tons of smiles.
Yes.
But we all have to get through it.
We do.
And where can we find your book?
You can find it on Amazon. If you Google the Wannabe Teacher Guide, it'll pop right up.
Awesome. And is it available through Kindle, paperback?
It is on Kindle and paperback.
Perfect. Excellent. And I remember hearing you in a different podcast. I think it was the Ed Tech Guys podcast.
Yes.
You said it is on budget is budget friendly for teachers. Ramen noodle budget, I think you said.
Yes, exactly. I know what it's like to live on ramen noodles. You're a teacher, and you're not even a teacher yet. You're a pre-service teacher. It's not easy.
It's not easy. So thank you so much for creating an easy read, quick read, bullet pointed list, gives us all the ins and outs of surviving that first year, and also budget friendly. That is so considerate of as an author. Thank you for that.
Thank you. And I encourage, actually, in the book, because a number of the checklists, I encourage readers, because it is an inexpensive book, rip the checklist pages out, tape them to your desk the first week of school, literally check the things off the checklist.
Love it.
To make sure that you've got it done.
That is awesome. I love it. Rip this out and roll it out now. That's awesome. And I believe you also mentioned on that same podcast that you're updating the book frequently.
I am, yes. I actually chose to self-publish it for the reason that I'm constantly learning every day, and things in actual, government and policy as far as education go are changing every day. And by doing that route, I can literally, if a new law goes into place on a Wednesday, I can have the book updated and all the new information in it on Thursday. And so I chose to go that route so that it can constantly be fresh, because it's a career that is different every day, every week, every year.
I love that about your book. Thank you so much for taking the time to discuss that with my audience. And I'll be sure to link it up in the show notes so people know where to grab it.
Thank you. And I can't wait to read your book.
Yay! Yes, we did a book swap, if you didn't know, guys.
I've got Edumagic waiting for me to read on my desk.
Woo woo. Yeah. All right. So I have my fast 5 here, and we're going to go through these rather quickly. They're not any sort of time limit. They're just real quick questions.
Okay.
Who do you recommend pre-service teachers follow on Twitter or Instagram, and why?
I've been following the Teach Better team, and sometimes participating in their Thursday night Twitter chats, and I have gotten a ton out of that. And they ask great questions, and they're not only focused on the pedagogy, but last week was focused on teacher self-care, which is something we don't necessarily talk about. So I highly recommend them.
Beautiful. And their chat is Mastery Chat. Is that correct?
Yes. #Mastery Chat.
What is one tech tool that you love using in your classroom?
Oh, I'm biased because I'm a newspaper advisor.
Okay.
So I'm a big, and I don't know if this counts, but we use Photoshop and InDesign every day. And we just got the new updated versions and we are loving it and creating some awesome stuff for our student journalists.
Beautiful. Thank you. And what song gets you pumped up to teach?
Ever since several years ago, on the very first day of school, I was driving into school and this Katy Perry, Eye of the Tiger, came on.
Yes.
It's not the original Eye of the Tiger from Rocky, but it's the Katy Perry version. I'm not sure if that's the title, but you know what I'm talking about. Ever since I heard that on my way to school on the first day, and the mascot of the school that I happened to be teaching at the time was the tiger.
Stop it. That is awesome.
So that gets me pretty pumped up.
Awesome. I love that story. I'll definitely add that to our Spotify playlist. And what is in your teaching bag? What is your favorite teaching accessory? One thing you can't have without during your class. Mine is a cup of coffee. That I always lose my cup. No matter what classroom I'm in, I lose my cup somewhere.
I actually like to keep chocolate-covered almonds with me at all times. Because as a teacher, as you know, you often go long stretches without having a chance to eat. And if you're in front of a class and your blood sugar drops and you're like, oh man,
watch
you
out.
pop a chocolate-covered almond and you've got sweet and you've got a little nut giving you some calories and you're ready to go.
And what are you currently binging on Netflix or Hulu, Amazon Prime, or whatever streaming service you use?
My favorites are not on right now. I am totally a period piece sucker. I love Victoria. I love The Crown, but none of them have new episodes on right now, so I'm very sad.
Thank you so much, Kathleen, for your time this afternoon.
For the first year of teaching, I just think that it's important that they know that it's okay to not feel like you really know what you're doing and to take it day by day and to sometimes not have a lesson that goes great and to learn from it and to make changes and just keep growing and keep persevering, and it'll get better and better. And then you'll be able to tangibly feel the difference that you're making and the learning that you're creating.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. How can my listeners find you online?
I am on Twitter at A Teacher's Guide and Facebook at Wannabe Teacher. If you pretty much look up A Teacher's Guide or Wannabe Teacher, you'll find everywhere that I am.
Hey friends, it's Sam. Thank you so much for tuning in to the end of this episode. We have a special giveaway going on through Instagram. So first step, follow us on Instagram. Second step, post a takeaway from this episode and make sure you use #EduMagic in your posts on Instagram. So if you want to get a signed copy of Kathleen's Trace book, Wannabe Teachers, and a signed copy of EduMagic, just follow these 2 steps. First, follow us on Instagram. My handle is at @sfesich, SFECICH, and Kathleen's is at Wannabe Teachers Guide. That's all one word. Step 2, post one takeaway from this episode using #EduMagic. You can either put it in a post or in your story. This contest will run through August 31st at midnight Eastern Time. So I look forward to hearing all your takeaways and your posts, and I look forward to connecting with all of you. Good luck!
There you have it, EduMagicians. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with your friends. For more EduMagic, check out sfesich.com and follow Dr. Sam on Twitter and Instagram at sfesich. Until next time, you have the EduMagic within you.